They know my story. From old dogs to you, I be hustle to work. Me and see. From old dogs to you, we been hustle to work. My people dead, my people suffer. Them they pray for blessings. My people dead, them they pray for blessings, for better living. Kilo dale, aye ole to yo, aye oni double. Adura lo le show, call on daddy. Adura go, she any badele. I forward go, I am feeling good tonight. This thing got me thinking of life. Oh, I can't explain. I can't explain. Yeah. I am feeling good tonight. This thing got me thinking of life. I can't explain. I can't explain. I say near you wherever. They know my story. From old dogs to you, I be hustle to work. Say near you wherever. Me and see. From old dogs to you, we been hustle to work. International flex. Starr boy there. I work a lot on a Saturday.
You're not son of DJ Carlos.
I'm up, I'm wave. I've seen a lot of things done come my way. I'm up, I'm wave. I've seen a lot of things done come my way. I'm up, I'm wave. I've seen a lot of things done. I'm up, wave. I'm up, I'm wave. I've seen a lot of things done come my way. I'm thankful for today. I'm thankful for today. I've seen worse days. A lot of things I've seen. I don't sleep, nah. Don't sleep on that thing. Come wine, don't sleep, nah. I work a lot when I start to dance. Yeah, right now I'm on a holiday. Yeah, free and fly away. Yeah, baby girl can cool me down. Don't stop, I'm on a holiday. Yeah, I wanna free my mind and go away. Yeah, free me, fly away. Yeah, oh my God, can cool me down. Wine like this up, give me that thing up. Wine like this up, give me that thing up. Give me that thing, girl. Wine like this up. I was Starr boy, give me that thing up. Wine like this up, give me that thing up. Wine like this up, give me that thing up. Give me that thing, girl. Wine like this up. I was Starr boy, give me that thing up. You be my pleaser. Call me my love and a teaser. Call me my teaser. Call me my love and a teaser. I work a lot when I start to dance. Yeah, right now I'm on a holiday. Yeah, free and fly away. Yeah, baby girl gotta cool me down. Don't stop, I'm on a holiday. Yeah, I wanna free my mind and go away. Yeah, free me, fly away. Yeah, oh my God, cool me down. Give me that thing, give me that thing, give me that thing, I must stop, boy. Give me that thing, give me that thing, give me that thing, give me that thing,
Higher Limit Entertainment DJ Carlos, the champion boy.
Wind that way, yeah. Wind up and bust my brain, yeah. Fuck you and make you wind up and bust my brain, yeah. baby. Yeah, she wanna do it all again. She tell me say come tonight, oh. She tell me say she's in love, oh. She's in love with me, baby. She wanna do it all again. Yeah, my girl, I give you tonight, oh. Say I'ma give you tonight, oh. See my girl, I give you tonight, oh. My girl, I give you tonight, oh.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio. Okay.
Black bonus. Starr boy. Them say them bad, but I swear them do no.
Celestial and cherubim and seraphim crossing together. And to tell the world that we believe solemnly in the word of God, the Bible, the sword of the Spirit, is what we believe. Then we all celebrate the Comforter. God willing, the one that will be coming up 2019 will be in this great country, Nigeria, fish in our hand, and we serve him without mingling anything petty with his name.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome.
Yes, good evening and welcome again. The Wednesday show, Naija Voices, coming live on Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Afro-Caribbean radio station in London, where we're broadcasting from. And we do hope it's been an amazing evening for those of you around the world, and especially, those of us, from Africa, and precisely Nigeria, where a lot is happening in Nigeria today. As a lot of you will remember that since, we've been out of the military regime, now we are now a democratic country, and democracy is about 20 years. For the next 4 years, there's been another inauguration taking place in Abuja today. I say once more, welcome.
Welcome
to Naija Voices here in the studio. I'd like to say good evening to you once more, and every one of you out there. Most important, when you logged in, depending on where you're listening from, whether you're listening on Twitter, because quite a lot of people don't know that you can also listen and watch us live on Twitter. And our Twitter handle is @Starr Radio UK. You can also listen to us on YouTube because not everyone do have Facebook or want to associate with Facebook. So it's also important that you can listen to us on YouTube. And again, the handle for that is Starr Radio UK. But the better part of listening to us is downloading the apps, and that app is free. Whether you're on Android or you're iOS, it is important that you listen to us on that platform as well. So you can download the apps and you won't be able to miss any edition of different show that comes in. We had Ifeoluwa WhatsApp this afternoon, and I hope you were able to learn quite a lot from what happened with that interview she had with the two guests of her. This evening it's going to be another evening with quite a lot of when it comes to politics, there is no friend and there is no enemy. We've seen what has played out in the last 4 years, even within the APC and the PDP. Politics is where you wake up in the morning and you think, oh, what you saw before going to bed seems to be a good relationship between individuals and party members. Sometimes there will be disagreement, sometimes there will be wrangling, and sometimes there will be fighting, and sometimes it could lead to some individuals leaving a particular party or supporting another one. If you look at what happened during the governorship election in Nigeria, where some new governors are coming in, I don't have to mention the state, but you will realize that some state, didn't go according to the, the primaries, didn't go according to the wish of the party. And, and this is not new. So, but tonight, we have, a guest that will join us, all the way from Nigeria. But let us quite understand that Nigeria, with the network on the other side of the globe, it's not as good as we have it back here in Europe. But we've done everything possible to make sure that we can have, our guest joining us as quickly as possible, all the way from Nigeria. It will be telling us who he is and, what has been the situation regarding the African Action Congress. Quite a lot of you would have noticed that in the last couple of weeks, almost 2 weeks or 3 weeks now, there has been these all kind of information and all kind of rumors, all kind of different things that sometimes it's good to hear it from the horse mouth. And that is what we do on Starr Radio UK. That is what we do on Niger Voices. We make sure that we want to hear it exactly, not what somebody said during the beer parlor talk. And this evening, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa will be joining us all the way from Nigeria, and he will clarify what is happening between the party, and what is the wrangling that is taking place in the party as well. But before we do that, let us take this quick break, and when we come back, you don't want to touch that dial. You don't want to change this channel to something else, because a lot of us saw what plays out in 18 months or so, that Take It Back movement started moving around the globe. It became a political party. What is now happening, and who is the current chairman? We had a conversation here on this particular show with Richard that told us that the chairman of African Action Congress remain Omoyele Sowore. Does that mean Dr. Leonard, that will have this conversation with us, has something else to say? You must wait and listen to that. But before we do that, let us listen to ERRAS.
Social worker or healthcare professional, are you currently having capability or disciplinary issues at work? Have you recently been referred to the NMC, ACPC, GMC, any other regulatory bodies? Do you need confidential expert advice on work issues and professionalism? Do you need representation for your NMC, GMC, ACPC, interim or substantive hearing? If your answer is yes, please contact Dr. Abi Akinyoshu of ERRAS, Employment Rights Representation and Advisory Service on 0.
Yes, sir, that is Employment Rights Representation Advisory Services.
05 7438 or 0207 140 0111 0745 195 6510. Our team of experts are ready to assist you in all aspects of your professionalism disciplinary.
Yes, and again,
Welcome.
Online, on mobile, soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading African Caribbean radio station.
yes, sir, we are the leading African and Afro-Caribbean radio station in London, and this is the only platform that you can hear exactly what is happening within the African community, and also what is happening within the outside world and the inside world. As we know, there are quite a lot of people that are living in the space, if you're not sure of that. Also, we'll be looking at the inauguration and the budget. The budget has been passed, about 8 trillion naira. What does that mean, for Nigerians at home, in terms of this budget that has not been, officially been passed, and where would the money be, going, who is taking who, all that we'll be looking at as well before the end of tonight's show. But tonight, it's all about a lot of clarification we must clarify quite a lot that is happening in the last 48 hours. AAC Drugs expel Secretary Leonard Nzenwa and others who staged Sowore suspension to court. So quite a lot is happening. But the only individual, that can also, get us get us understand, what is happening, would be, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa himself. He's gonna be joining us in just about a few minutes. Just hold on there. Don't touch the dial, because, like I say, tonight is gonna be a very, very important issue. It is not new, around the world. Political parties, movement will have misunderstanding. I was in Nigeria when I heard that 6 members of Labour Party decided to leave the party, and you wonder, these are men, core members of the party, but they decided to leave, and life continued. We saw the what's it called, the Nigel Farage, even though a lot of you would disagree, with his views, but he started a political party, and that party, told us that we must come out of BRICS exit, and all of a sudden he has formed another party. So what is going to happen to African Action Congress? Quite a lot of people donated huge amount of money, to fund, this is the first time in the history of the country where not just the diaspora, but also those at home with 500 naira, 1,000 naira, people donated their time, volunteers their time. But what is happening within the party? This is the only platform that you will be able to get more clarification on that. Let's take as a lot of you know, Comforter is just about a few months away in Nigeria, and we would like to listen to this bit of clip while we connect to Nigeria with Dr. Leonard.
We sent in my name. It shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, I can hear you.
Yes, now... I
can hear you.
Thank you very much. And right now, for those of you listening, we've now got a connection to Nigeria, and live on the line with us is Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, that will be our guest for the next 45 1 hour, depending on how this conversation is going to go. But let me give you a bit of background of this individual, and then we can then be able to start taking through so many questions that have been sent into the studio. A lot of you have called in as well. He holds a degree and certification in public administration, in political science, marketing and finance, economics and communication. He was a former student union leader and a NANS mobilizer. He graduated from the university about 25 years ago. Management, policy, communication, and a political consultant. Has a multi-industry corporate work experience spanning over 2 decades. Also part of the activists involved in the pro-Abiola June 12 struggle, where a lot of Nigerians are enjoying democracy today. That all started during the late MKO Abiola. We all remember what happened in 1993. A social and a political commentator and analyst, was at the forefront of the enthronement of President Buhari during his first tenure. a member of several professional and occupational bodies, the National Campaign Director, Take It Back, and also the co-founder, African Action Congress, and its inaugural National Secretary. Also, Acting National Chairman, African Action Congress. Once again, good evening, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa on Niger Voices.
Thanks for having me.
Good evening. Well, we spoke to you in the morning, this morning, but this is a time now that we will have enough time, to go through quite a lot of, what we couldn't touch during the breakfast show. We've given a bit of your profile for those that are listening for the first time. Let's go straight to it. Who is the current chairman or acting chairman, or who is in charge of the African Action Congress?
By the will of God and by the decision of the party, I am the acting national chairman of AAC.
Wow. You are the acting chairman of AAC. That is well clarified from you, but what we've been told and what is on the media and what is out there is completely different. But if you say you are the acting chairman, we will hold on to that at the moment. Let's go straight into it. Give us a bit of background for those that are listening to us for the first time. I know there's a lot of people that are already logged in listening to us, but there will be few individuals that doesn't even know the background of what African Action Congress is all about. I know it started from a movement, from about almost 18 months ago. Take us through, that journey, and we can get a bit of understanding of this party and what role you played from that Take It Back movement into, a party coming out of it, last year.
Okay, thank you very much. The African Action Congress started out as TIB, that is Take It Back movement. And it's a global political movement formed essentially to see how we can alter, how we can change things as it concerns Nigeria. Our membership is spread across the globe and is largely populated by leaders of student union governments, student union across Nigeria that have played a significant role during the pro-Abiola and the military era. Now, the essence of coming together is essentially how we can alter. I don't like using the word change. I prefer using the word altering the status quo, because change itself has assumed a very negative connotation and people drop into it and begin to believe people. What we set out to do is to see how we can impact the lives of people positively and make them and salvage them from the decadent situation in the country. We set out to do this through the energy. And Omoyele Sowore is the convener. However, we have also Dr. Malcolm Fadi and the rest of the team and my very staff. We've now decided that in doing this, we've got to also work with, we're going to work with several groups and several bodies. While we're doing consultation, we felt that we're not going to stop at the movement level, that we need to actually get ourselves involved in actual politics in this country. We now had a window, and that window was to register a political party. And that party is called African Action Congress. It's like a relay, as I had earlier told you in the morning, where you have, for example, 4 by 400 meters relay. And I was to anchor the last leg of the run. And I breasted the tape. We were all involved, but the responsibility of actually registering the party fell on my lap, and I delivered that. So, in August last year, the party was registered, and I became the inaugural national secretary of the party, while Omoyele Sowore became the inaugural national chairman of the party. I was also the national campaign director of Take It Back movement. That automatically means that I am the second person in ranking in Nigeria as long as the TIB is concerned, Take It Back movement. This is a summary, a helicopter view of how we started.
Wow. For those of you that are joining us and you're listening, the voice of our guest, we couldn't get through with the Skype due to poor connection in Nigeria, but I'm sure the line is perfectly clear. We can hear him loud and clear all the way from Lagos. Are you in Lagos, in Abuja?
Yeah, I'm currently in Abuja as we speak. I just came in a location in Abuja now.
Okay, he's currently, with us all the way from Abuja, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, and in the next, 2 hours of this show, we'll be looking at so many issues that is arising, around the African Action Congress, and he has been able to give us a bit of background for those of you that are not familiar or maybe not aware of what is happening. Let's now go straight into what happened and what has been, in the last 3 weeks. All of a sudden, Nigerians woke up in the morning and there was a press conference or press release by yourself and, a couple of individuals giving that you have suspended, the party chairman, and you have now taken over as the acting chairman. Take us through what went wrong or how did that got to that stage, because for something to come...
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I need to make it very clear up front.
Okay.
That it is not a personal problem between me and Omorele Sowore, or any person for that matter. It is between the party, the political party, and Omorele Sowore. So it is not a personal. It is not a personal.
We can hear you loud and clear. Continue.
Yes, it is not a personal squabble between my very self, my humble self, and Omorele Sowore, not between my humble self with Dr. Malcolm Fabi or any other person.
Okay.
Actually, Omorele Sowore and 9 of them were suspended, including Dr. Malcolm Fabi. It's not only Omorele Sowore. So it is the party that has taken that decision to suspend both of them. So let it not be looked as if it is a personal problem.
Okay.
Now, regarding the background as to how this started, I did mention earlier that while we are involved in politics in this country, my colleagues felt it was going to be what we call windy politics. And windy politics is a kind of
Okay, do bear with us. That is what happens with the problem from Nigeria, but we hope that line will be back in just about a few minutes. And I'm told also it's been heavy rain in most part of Nigeria today as well. But once again, if you've just joined us and you're listening to us, we've got on the phone with us Dr. Leonard Nzenwa. That line has come off. We will try to get that back as quickly as we can. Once again, this is Niger Voices coming straight to you on Starr, your African and Afro-Caribbean radio station in London. We've got back Dr. Leonard. We can hear you loud and clear. Let's just continue from where you stopped.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear. We can hear you.
Yes, the network is acting up. So, my colleague said it's going to be windy politics where all the whole activities will be driven digitally and without having much connection with the people at the grassroots. And so it was Facebook, WhatsApp, all kinds of social media, medium and all that. And so we never had one single meeting. The chairman never convened one single meeting. There was no meeting that was convened and which contravened our constitution. For all the period that we're having this, we're making this effort to take back Nigeria. No single meeting was held. The only meeting that was held was that which I organized myself in this country. And that was the only meeting we had in this country. The other was happening was that the party became a personal property. it was used in one particular corner in a hotel room in Lagos and New York. Most of the membership of the party were completely disconnected from what was going on. And we held on that way, trying to see how we can manage the situation. Before the election and immediately after the election, the party took a decision that, look, this has got to stop. And what are the reasons why Omoyele Sowore and the rest of them were suspended? First, he absconded from his duty as the national chairman of the party. He was found. You can't see him. He was evasive. I do not even have time to relate with him. Talk less of other people who are also in the party or not even in the movement. The other thing was the misappropriation of funds. The whole Nigerians across the globe donated over 157 million. That money never got to the party. That money went to a campaign organization fund, which he himself and his cohorts used without the knowledge of the party. And when they were asked to account for this party, or account for this money, they began to attack people left and right. It will interest you to note that as a pro-people political party, our members across the states were not funded, even with this money. So if there was a clear case of misappropriation of money, and also he now began to usurp the responsibility of functions of some of the key officials. Everything centered around him and his cohorts. People will ask questions, what is happening? Nobody is able to give any comprehensive explanation as to what is happening. As the national chairman of the party, I never knew what was going on. I was seldom sitting in the train. Nobody got to tell me anything about it. And I was involved in the registration of political party. So after reviewing this, the NEC on the 2nd of his National Executive Committee meeting, held on 27 March, and following allegations of anti-party activities, financial misappropriation, allowing inflow of illegal foreign funds into the party, and retaining same personally in contravention of Section 225, subsection 3 and subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. These are some of the things that led to the decision that was taken and why they were suspended. There are other issues, other allegations, all the things that made the party to take the decision. So it wasn't I alone that did that. It was the party that took that decision.
Wow. If you've just joined us, the voice on the other side, all the way from Abuja, is Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, giving us, some background to the reason why, the Omoyele Sowore was suspended, and it's not a personal thing. You've mentioned quite a lot of few things, but we will go a little bit more inside to find out more. The question a lot of Nigerians are asking, especially those that have followed this party, in the last 18 months, is you've given us, some of what went wrong, but how come all this was not resolved internally before it becomes a public, what we are now discussing, on the radio and what is being discussed around the whole world?
Well, thank you very much. Efforts were made to see how we can resolve these issues before now. I should be commended, and other leadership of the party should be commended for holding on till up to this moment. We wouldn't have had a successful presidential election from our own if we had not been calm to see how we can resolve this matter. So efforts were made indeed to see how we can resolve this matter. And individuals intervened privately to see how this can be resolved. But each time these efforts are made, we see an ego in place. We see a nature that is not really pronounced, that is in consonance with what we set out to do. We see the people think that the political party is their personal property. We see a situation where the party is looked at as an extension of our reporter. It will interest you to know that we had an opportunity to change things for our political party. And what was it? Immediately after the registration of the party, we were to have a national convention in Lagos. And that national convention is the particular convention where the members of the party will be elected, leadership of the party will be elected. Now, every person in this party, delegates from different parts of this country, struggle to get to Lagos for the convention so that we can elect the leadership of this party. This was on October 6th. I was contesting as the chairman of the party. I was going to become the chairman of the party, and Olayomi Shoere was also contesting for the presidential candidate of the party. But you know what happened? When we got to the convention ground, after the ratification of Olayomi Shoere as the presidential candidate of the party, and for us to have a convention where the leadership of the party is to be elected, they aborted it and stopped the convention from holding, and everybody ran away from the convention ground. It was by the grace of God that Dr. Malcolm Fabiyi was almost lynched. I had to intervene to save the situation. Now, looking at our background as activists in this country, spanning over 30 years, and I began to ask myself, is it all this important period where we are supposed to have an election to elect for the party, Olayomi Shoere, Dr. Malcolm Fabiyi, and the cabals that has held the party to ransom, cancel the convention, making Olayomi Shoere as the national chairman of the party as well as the presidential candidate of the party? If you cannot be having double positions, do you have the moral right to come out and tell Buhari or tell PP or tell any person that you have a right to come and begin to criticize people? Men could not hold a simple convention because you know you cannot be the national chairman of the party and be the presidential candidate. He now doubles as the presidential candidate, as the national presidential candidate as well as the national chairman of the party. And that is not consistent with what we set out to do. We cannot have a dictator. We cannot have people who will say something else and they do something else. And that was where the problem actually began. Because I said we will not do that, and we're not going to do that because he himself criticized others. So when we get to his own turn, he now became a dictator. He now became even listen to advice. He now became somebody that everybody is down at the slightest criticism and all that. So that is exactly where the problem starts. That he himself arrogated himself as the chairman of the party, and that is not comfortable with the party leadership. And so those are some of the reasons that led us to decide that indeed he is not doing what he's preaching. Okay. And so we suffered misfortune in the presidential election, partly on account of all this.
Okay. For those of you joining us, this is an exclusive interview to get the background of, the wrangling that is taking place between, within, the African Action Congress. On the line with me all the way from Abuja is Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, giving us the background of what has actually happened to this stage. Let me go back to, what the National Working Committee. This was a statement that was released 2 weeks ago, the May the 13th in Abuja. AAC NECSAC Sahara reporter publisher Olayomi Shoere and named Dr. Leonard Nzenwa as the acting national chairman. The National Executive Committee of the African Action Congress today, the 13th of May 2019, formally presented Dr. Leonard Nzenwa as the acting national chairman of the party, signaling an end to the leadership crisis rocking the party. Dr. Nzenwa was until March 27 the national secretary of the party. I will put a pause on that at the moment. From what we gathered, or what we have was you have already been suspended before you also the National the National Executive Committee coming to say, you are now the acting, but the party itself says you already been suspended. Can you clarify that, for those that are listening to us right from the horse mouth?
Olayomi, it is laughable. It is funny. It is. I don't know how to put it. It is basically nonsensical to say that I was suspended. The purported suspension is illegal and is unconstitutional. And why is it illegal and unconstitutional? It's unconstitutional because the signatories to that particular document purported to have suspended me. None of them is a member of none of them is an official of the party. None of them is an official of the party. And when I say none of them is official of the party, none of them occupies any sensitive position at the leadership rank of the party. Dr. Malcolm Fabi is not a leadership person in the party. Dr. Malcolm Fabi is the DG of Take It Back movement. His details is not with INEC, so he is not reflected as an official of the party. Now, the so-called disciplinary committee, made up of non-officials of the party as well, who sat secretly and horribly suspended me without my knowledge, without my input, purported to have suspended me, are not officials of the party. And Omoyele Sowore cannot, on its own, suspend the National Secretary of a political party because the party is not Omoyele Sowore. The party is made up of Nigerians across all different spheres of life. So on account of that, the so-called suspension was an illusionary venture. It was an exercise in futility. So I will tell you, constitutionally and legally, I was not suspended. I was the National Secretary of the party, and that's the way it is.
Let's go back, a little bit back, and for those that are listening to us, quite a lot of comment coming through. We will pick on that as we go, because we have quite a lot of time to look into that. Who are those that set up the African Action Congress? Because what we have, from what I have read and the memo that has been put out there, is some individuals registered the party, but you are just or maybe some of you within these groups are trying to hijack a party that has been put in place to solve the problems of Nigerians, even though we saw that the outcome of that election didn't favor the African Action Congress. So tell us a little bit more. Who are those behind the registration of this party, African Action Congress?
Thank you very much. I have deliberately not responded to most of these things that are being peddled around the social media, and particularly that which came out from Dr. Malcolm Fabi and the rest of them. Now, I make reference to people, entities that are recognized officially. Any person that is not recognized officially in the party, I am not at liberty to mention that person because the person is not an official of the party. But to make some clarification, I have drawn an analogy which I kept on hammering on. You are about 4 persons that are going into a marathon race. That marathon race, you took off from the location in a vehicle, and 2 of you got to the stadium, and you all undressed to begin to run the race. And you all have the 4x400 race is done. Now, while you're doing that, I was the last person that will have to take the breath to go and breast tape. I breasted the tape. I now did the last lap of registering the political party. I physically involved in registering the political party, moving from one area of the Independent National Electoral Commission to the other, and other stakeholders. I was involved. And when this party was registered formally, the notification.
Okay, Star Radio UK. Exclusive interview with Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, all the way from Abuja. While we're still waiting, for that connection to come back. Quite a lot of comment coming through and question. The line will be open later on, but while we are still, it's been raining. I've been told, across it may be, Okay, we've got him back now. Thank you very much. All the way from Abuja. That's fine. We can hear you loud and clear in the studio.
Okay, clear. So, when the notification of this political party came out, it was directly delivered to me. Now, the communication that had been sent out by Dr. Malcolm Fabiyi purporting to be the essence of the content of that communication clearly says that he is the owner of the party with his friends, which were known as the cabal.
Wow, this is an interesting one, very, very important. That word cabal has been used, a number of times this evening. I hope a lot of you are listening to that, because we've also been saying cabals in APC, cabal in PDP. We now also have cabal within the African Action Congress. While we're still waiting for that connection to come back, we've lost that. We will try that number again. Bear with us, and these are part of the infrastructure problem that I hope, the government will be looking into, because we should be able to have interference when we're having a conversation that is so important like this. We are still waiting, for that to, to come back, while I'm still waiting. This is, okay, it seems that connection is coming back. But again, this is Star Radio UK, where we continue to give you what is happening. While we're still waiting, it's trying to connect, but yes, it looks like we cut Dr. Lena. Hello, good evening, Dr. Lena. We got you back. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, let's continue with...
I can hear you now.
Let's continue with the conversation. Niger Voices on Star Radio UK. Go ahead, Dr. Leonard. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So the communication that has been circulated across the globe is that Dr. Malcolm Fabiyi and his cabal friends owns the party. And now, when you have a mindset of supposedly owning a political party, that will tell you the state of mind and the mindset of the people who say they want to change or want to take back Nigeria. They even went to the extent of putting figures down that I donated this, I donated this. This second week we started TIB. The second week Take It Back was started. Donations started coming up from across the globe. People were donating left and right. People who are desirous of making a credible change in Nigeria were donating money from every part of the world. And we had run several weeks, several months before the registration of the political party. And we'll be collecting money from the donations that people were giving us in support of the effort of Take It Back. Now, in the midst of all this, when donations were coming from every part of the world, my friends are telling me that they were the ones that were spending the money to register the party. So, where was the donation money that was coming from? What was it used for? They were assignated to the accounts. They know how to use the money, where the money went for, and what it was used for. And when the crisis they engineered began to come out, they were now saying that they were the one that brought the money to register the party. Which means from the beginning, the mindset was to now register a political party, own the political party, and push people outside. And that was the greatest undoing. People were involved in registration of this political party. They were all in the US, apart from Moyedesho that was here. saw what I did with all that people that registered this political party. And he commended us for what we did. Because we know what the extra mile we went to register this political party. But those who think being a spectator and being a coach while people are playing football on the pitch will now tell you how the football is played, will now be telling you that they are the owners of the footballer, they can do this, they can do that. So what point am I trying to make? They can go about and say all they want to say. Those people who actually register the party, which details are with the Independent National Electoral Commission, are owners of this party. Anybody that is claiming can only do that in the wind. But when it comes to legality and constitutionality and what obtains, these are the owners of the party, and these people are all imposters, apart from Amoyede Sowore, who was also with us during the time we did this registration. But who now could not hold his ground for some reason I can't explain. And that is why the party felt that he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, and he had never had to also drive what we set out to do. Wow. And that was why he was suspended.
Wow, if you've just joined us, this is Naija Voices, and this is what we do. We try to make sure that, wherever the news is, wherever the breaking news, and, we work tirelessly, to do that. And we would like to appreciate Dr. Leonard for joining us on Naija Voices. For those that are listening and those that would not be able to work out, what has been happening, with African Action Congress. Let's go a little bit more into there's been and I don't know, I'm sure you must have seen that the African Action Congress drags and expel Secretary Leonard Nzenwa and others who staged Sowore suspension to court. I want us to hold on to that at the moment because it looks like this might be a battle going into the court, and I'm sure Nigerians across the globe will be wondering, what is going on. But you have used the same word cabal, and the cabal has always been a word that a lot of Nigerians have heard, for decades. But you are also using the same word cabal. I also want you to put a hold on that, and you can be able to explain to us, what the cabal means, within the African Action Congress. But the question that a lot of people have sent in, and they want us to ask you as well, is what is the way forward out of all this mess? What is the way forward? In terms of, we've seen political parties. It's not just only in Nigeria, but across the globe where, political parties, members do fight. Sometimes even within the House of Chambers, it happens there in UK. I've just said that before you came on air, when, members of the Labour Party decided to leave the party. But what is the way forward before we go into more other question on Starr Radio UK Naija Voices? What is the way forward out of all this?
Thank you very much, Olayomi. The way forward is that the party, no individual owns a political party. I, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, do not own AAC. Neither is Amoyede Sowore owning AAC. Neither is Malcolm Fabi or any person for that matter. AAC belongs to the people, and it is the people that owns AAC. The party, the supremacy of the party is the party is supreme. Whatever decision the party takes, that is final. And so the party has decided in its wisdom, based on what has transpired over this period of time, that Amoyede Sowore and Dr. Malcolm Fabi and the 8 others remain suspended. This is a period the party will retool itself, reorganize itself, restructure itself, and begin to be a credible political party based on grassroots participation and mobilization. And we see how we can also alter the status quo that we have. So the party has decided that they be suspended, and we will, at appropriate time, when the party deems it necessary, to review the suspension, and we will now go on forward with that. That is the way forward as we speak. Thank you.
Wow, that's the way forward. Going back to you now being dragged to court and the others, and I'm sure maybe a notice has been served to you. Let me take into that story. And this was yesterday press release. The African Action Congress has dragged its former National Secretary, Leonard, that is on the phone with us, and others who participated in a widely televised suspension of pro-Tam party chairman Omoyele Sowore to court. Leonard, in the company of one Mazi, on May 13, 2019, announced the suspension of Omoyele Sowore and 8 others, including his deputy national chairman, Southwest Ogunlana Rotimi Jacob, for a period of 6 months over alleged anti-party activities. Let's now take a look at the, a little bit more. Are you planning to hold a kind of, convention? That I want you to answer that, and then we can move forward, because it looks like from the court judgment yesterday, it's also putting a hold on that, while this whole situation might probably have to be resolved, within the court. So what would you like to tell those that are listening to us on that? And I'm sure you must have read that as well yesterday.
Yes, I seldom read most of these things that come out from, especially Medium, that I had some level of respect in the past. But I think that particular medium has become a blackmailing, bribe powering, and blackmailing medium. So whatever comes from that particular medium, I don't take it as a very serious journalism. However, what was written, it's nonsense. I need to say very clearly that I'm a Nigerian. I respect authorities. This matter is before the court of competent jurisdiction.
Okay.
And so I thought the entire thing surrounding the court is a matter of competent jurisdiction. It's the doctrine of sub judice should prevail. I will not want to make any comment regarding what is going on in the court currently as it is now, because we've exchanged pleadings, so I cannot be heard on air making comments that could overreach the court, or which will also prejudice the outcome of whatever the court is going to take. So I will not want to comment on anything that is relating to the court. But the thing is that the court has ruled. What we are certain of is that the court has ruled that Omoyele Sowore should stop parading himself as the national chairman of AAC. That is what is very clear. That is settled by the court's ruling.
And when was this ruling? Was this ruling given out?
It was given out about two weeks ago, thereabouts.
Okay. All right.
I need to check the exact date.
Well, if you join us, that is, Dr. Leonard giving us, background to, what has been happening between, the African Action Congress. Let's take a look at, come back a little bit to, Nigeria as it is at the moment. The question on the minds of a lot of Nigerians will be, this party or other new parties coming up are not serious, because if you're trying to take back the country from those that you think are not running the country properly, there has been another new, inauguration taking place across the country with governors and, the presidential. Is African Action Congress serious in terms of trying, to take power? I know, the election that went didn't favor you, but in the next 4 years that you should be planning, to take over from the governorship to the House of Assembly to the Senate, was there any? What would be the way forward in terms of this whole issue? Because Nigerians will be like, we are tired of what we have at the moment, but what we're expecting to have now doesn't seem to be working. What would you like to say to that?
It's very unfortunate that things are the way it is, because we didn't get it right. We didn't get it right from the beginning. And part of the reason why we didn't get it right was because of selfishness. People had a lot of ego around them, and Apart from that, there was an unwillingness to work as a team. I'll give you a clear example. Nigeria is not Ukraine. Nigeria is not an advanced democracy in the way you can see it in the middle of most Western countries. Nigeria is a very complex, multinational country. And so there are varieties, there are dynamics at play in this country. You need to understand the workings, you need to the heartbeat, you need to understand the politicking of the Nigerian setting. And it is not about student unionism. It is not about protest management. It is not about what I call rhetoricism. It is not about dismissalship. It is not about praise singing. It requires so much to get this country working. And so when we came, we were working on the wings of, yes, we have a pedigree in protest. We have a pedigree in activism. We have a pedigree in fighting and criticizing the government. But that which is actually required, the skill that is required to now begin to assume the responsibility of governance and politics, that was lacking. However, for a few of us that have been involved in one way or the other in trying to work with politicians or working in this country, we realized that the gap was basically around one thing. We had an opportunity to get all the young presidential candidates in this country so that we can work together as a team to dislodge what I describe as the Methuselah politicians or the Methuselah leadership people that are in this country. But that particular effort was subverted. And who subverted it? The subversion came from us as well. The same cabal that I mentioned, which you try to also, which many people in the party know them, also frustrated this move for us to work with the young presidential candidates across this country. And questions were asked. Why is it that we want to go it alone? What do we have that these people don't have? Is it the youthful energy? All of us were youths. So those are some of the things that we question ourselves. We cannot get Nigeria working by working in isolation and by doing it alone. So we need the concerted effort of every young Nigerian in this country. Despite the different political leanings, we are focused on making sure that Nigeria is the greatest country, black country in the world. Once we realize this, we can team up our resources intellectually, otherwise, and work together and get this thing done. But if you are coming from the point, I am holier than thou, you are not going to do this, which was the posture we used, it will not work very well. I'm being very sincere in this particular conversation because it pained me most. It pained me most. And why did it pain me most? It's very painful because I remember immediately after the registration of the political party, I had a cross-section of people in this country who were willing to join the party. What they told me was, and those people have made a difference in this party, they would have helped us to stand where we are. They told me that a major test of knowing whether a political party is a good political party is for that party to have its first national convention. And when that particular convention comes out, electing an acceptable, credible democratic leadership of the party, then we can say indeed this party has a future. But we went to Lagos as if they were prophetic in their assessments. We got there, it was the greatest embarrassment of our lives. And we shamed everybody. And that was the major beginning of the crisis of this political party. So that is part of the reason why I say it requires a lot. We cannot do it alone. It is a job that must be done by every young Nigerian that is sincere, focused, and to make sure that this country becomes the greatest country, black country in the world.
Wow. If you've just joined us, this is Niger Voices, the 29th of May 2019, live broadcast from London where we are, and on the line with us all the way from Abuja is Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, giving us the background of what has been happening within the African Action Congress. Let's put that on hold at the moment and take a look at what happened today in Nigeria. I know we asked you that question, this morning by my co-producer Archie. What happened in Abuja today is another inauguration, this is a continuation of a new government that has been there for the last 4 years. And I would like us now to take a view of the last 4 years of this government, and then we can come back a little bit more into the African Action Congress. And once again, we'd like to appreciate you for your time. And I know, you were already on transit before you make your way back to Abuja so that we can have this interview and get your words, rather than, the mere say that a lot of people do say on the street of, around the world. The last 4 years of this government, what would be something that you would like to see that should have been done, or maybe should have been taken in, or maybe a kind of advice as the government is going into another 4 years?
Yeah, what I think I'll tell the government is, so far it's been a mixed bag of several things for the country. President Muhammad Buhari, has done what he considered to be the best for this country at this time. But that is not enough. Nigerians are suffering. I made a public statement today urging him and the people that are sworn in, of those that won elections, to try and do more in alleviating the poverty. People are suffering so much in this country. And create more jobs for. So what I will recommend to the government is, there's a need for us to rebalance the structure of the economy and see how we can create more jobs on paper, jobs that will impact meaningfully to people, and young people can get a future and find somewhere to, a place to work. The unemployment rate here is very, very high, and we've seen all kind of vices on account of that. So I will recommend to the government to do more things to see how they can create more jobs for the people, or create the enabling environment for the private sector to have the environment to see how they can now create jobs for people to, to find jobs so that they can work. The other thing I will also ask the government to be more sincere in terms of the fight against corruption. I see it much more as a lip service. Politicians that are close to the government are left. Those who are not with the government are criminals, are attacked and chased left and right. So I think if you want to come claim that you're fighting corruption in this country, we should be very sincere. We need to strengthen all the institutions. ICPC, we need to strengthen EFCC, we need to make even the National Assembly more productive in terms of coming out more loudly to see how they can work towards stopping corruption in this country. Because one of the greatest problems we have in this country is that the corruption level is very, very high. But each time we hear that government is doing something about it, but we're not getting the commensurate results from it. So my recommendation to the government is, people are suffering, they've got to do something to help people out. 2, we need to improve what is happening in our school. The school in Nigeria, the educational sector is in shambles. So it's a whole checklist we might not be able to talk about on this program. But basically, as a leader, as this government continues in the next few years, in the next 4 years, I will say they should look themselves in the eyeball and say, look, when I exit, what is it that Nigeria will remember us for? For now, Nigerians are not remembering this government for something that has a legacy value.
Wow. If you've joined us, this is a Starr Radio UK Niger Voices exclusive interview with Dr. Leonard Nzenwa from his base in Abuja. We will come back to the African Action Congress, but we are taking a look at the budget has been passed. I'm going to be asking you a question around the budget. Is that enough? For 180 million Nigerians, and you've touched on education. And what I was going to be touching on at the second stage of this interview, of this show, will have been the education and the security of the country. And you have just mentioned just one out of it. The education sector of Nigeria, looking at our previous budget, not just, the last one, but the ones previous, has it been enough? Has money been injected enough to that sector, to make Nigerians, I know sometimes it's not just about looking at the school buildings. We're talking about, the standard of that education itself. What would you like to say on that?
I think I just need to be upfront about this. If you look at what is happening in this country, it has the educational sector is in shambles because people who are supposed to be at the driving seat in managing education are not the people who are doing that. So, which is a general problem. So, you all find a lot of people who have no business being in managing education in this country, assuming or taking leadership roles in that sector. And so, when you have such a thing like that, you are bound to have problems. The second thing is that we don't place our priority right when it comes to seeing how we can overhaul our educational sector. It's not even about the money or the resources that are put into that particular the sector itself. Now, I give you an example. Zimbabwe is seen to have the highest literacy rate in Africa. Zimbabwe as endowed as Nigeria. Zimbabwe is not as endowed as Nigeria. But globally, international organizations and our agencies have identified Uganda as having very high literacy in Africa. So it is not so much about the money. It is how are you utilizing that which has also been budgeted for that particular sector.
Wow.
That is the thing we need to concentrate on. Now, a situation where you have, as we currently obtain now, you have every month, every week, a new private university will be registered by Nigerian University Commission. So you are even finding a situation where there are more private universities, more universities now that are ill-equipped. They don't have the resource base, they don't have the expertise, there's no technical support. You just have a mash of buildings all spread across various places, and you find no students even. Now, you also ask yourself, why is it that Nigerians, no matter how backward they are, academically, when they leave the shores of this country to advanced country, they excel academic-wise. They excel. They top global universities. They come up with stellar classes. We should ask ourselves, what are the problems that we have here? So it's basically a function of not the quantum of money that is put into it, or it is the attitude towards getting things done rightly.
Wow. We will pick up some of the comments that have come through online with our listeners. We will pick them at random. But if you, we've got about another 15 20 minutes with Dr. Leonard, and we now go back again to the conversation, around the African Action Congress. And once again, thank you very much for giving us your time out of a very, very important day. That is also so many activities happening, not just only in Abuja, but other states as well. Let's go back now, to let me just pick up some of what is coming up at the moment. Well, some of them are, as we know, might not be of something that we can read online because, they've got some swear word or things of that nature. But what I can say here says, why not go and form your own party? That is coming up from one of our listeners, online, saying, why don't you go and form your own party? Also, I've got, someone saying, Showore undermine the integrity of the good people of the AAC party and Nigeria shameful. How can we trust the young people? That question I want you to hold on there is, how can we trust the young people? The young people wants to take the power from those that have been taking care of the country in the last 4-5 decades. But it looks like, the young people might not be ready as well. And I'll take one more, go back to you, Dr. Leonard. This individual says, I am not a member of the AAC, but I appreciate the fact that the DEAR need to challenge the status quo. But it is not too soon for these rookies. Not that one is condemning any misconduct from Showore, but one will expect a more concerted effort at in-house peacekeeping effort? And I did ask that question during my my questions with you. That was this resolved before it becomes a public something that everybody is discussing. So what would you like to say to those three comments coming in on those that are listening to us on our social media handles? Once again, this is Niger Voices live every Wednesday on Star Radio UK.
Okay, directly to the question as to why don't I go and form my own political party, still goes down to that basic question of some certain people or certain persons feel that the party belongs to them. And when you have a mindset that the party belongs to you or something belongs to you, you hold on to it. You see people as employed, as your workers. People that you can walk around, talk to anyhow, people you can relate with as a master-servant relationship. That is the underpinning thinking around why don't you go and form your own political party. Now, the party itself wouldn't have existed if I was not at the driving seat to get it registered. So the people that are making that comment are also the same outpost of the cabals that sees the party as their personal property, as an extension of Sahara Reporter, forgetting that the political party is not an entity owned by one particular person. So it is not about the political party, it's about addressing the Nigerian issue and taking them head on. If I decide to go and form my own political party, it will still be the same thing. One man or a group of cabal who will sit in a hotel room in Lagos, who will sit in a hotel room in New York, who claim to be pro people, but as all living continually in a 5-star hotel, paid with donations money from people and across the globe. And when you ask questions, they will tell you it is our campaign money. The party was not funded. Are you aware that on the 25th of December 2018, my good friend and the national chairman as well as the presidential candidate dispatched a group of helens to go to the party office in Abuja here to take the party over? And yet, exhibiting the same characteristics and the same attitude of the same politicians that he is consistently over the decade has been condemning. This is the mindset of the cabal that is asking to go and form another party. So they need to be weaned of this mentality that is not about ownership, it's about the people. And I'll give you one example. In this country, ABGA was founded by Rochas, by the person that founded ABGA is not even running ABGA today. Mandela never founded any ANC. So I don't know where this is coming from. What we are set out to do is we've got to correct what is happening in the political party, what is happening in our party, irrespective of whoever it is. So it's not about going to form another political party. That's not the way we address this matter. I am a co-stakeholder of this political party, just as I'm a is a stakeholder in this party. Just as anybody is a stakeholder. Even the man in Areda market, or even in Balogun market, is a stakeholder in this party. So nobody can say he's not a part of this party, go and form your own party. Now, the other question that you also talked about was, how can we trust the young people?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, how can we trust the young people? A clear opportunity came our way for the young people of this country to work together during the last presidential election. We had them all over. The idea was to get the whole young presidential candidate to come together and form a formidable opposition.
Well, still on the line with us all the way from Abuja is Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, giving us background to what is happening with the African Action Congress and it still remains, according to him, that he's still the the acting chairman according to the National Working Committee. That was something different from what we had from Richard. So quite a lot is happening with this political party. We've lost him there. We will try and see if we can get him back before he gives us his closing remark regarding this special interview that is taking place all the way on Starr Radio UK on Niger Voices. Once again, just after that, yes, I know I know the line has been holding on for us for a very good time. You wanted to address that question about the young Nigerians in terms of trust. We've seen Nigerians looking at this party and other young political parties, and now the question is, with what is happening, can Nigerians trust this young party, or how do we have the young integrity of Nigerians? How can we trust young people again? That was the question. How can we trust young people again?
Well, coming up from the presidential election that just ended, it is pretty very difficult to trust young people because we had an opportunity to work together and see how we can dislodge the leadership that currently obtains. However, that was blown up because of selfishness on the part of the young people who were the presidential candidates of the various political parties. The other thing is that most of them lack the experience on how to go about doing this. But basically, at the core end of the trust is there is no difference we can see between a lion, for instance, and its child, or a leopard will always not change its color. We are product of a system. It requires breaking away from the ranks for you to be trusted. And I am talking specifically as it relates to AAC. That which would have helped us to stand out and for us to be trusted was we ought to have followed the democratic principle. If we had done that, and because many Nigerians looked at us very well, but when we betrayed their trust by the way we conducted ourselves, we now lost the trust. Now, for us to regain this trust, is for us to see ourselves as one, not to be an Igbo man, not to be a Yoruba man, not to be an Hausa man, but to be one particular ethnic, one particular nationality, one Nigerian. The second way to also engender this trust is let the best hands, irrespective of wherever you're coming from, let the best hand, the best brain, wherever you're fit to assume leadership, let that particular person, young man, take that role. In doing it, we can also see a way we can also engender trust. Another way we can also engender trust so that they can trust the young people is in whatever capacity you are serving, whether you are serving in government, even in the Buhari government or any government, let the young man excel to the point where other people will now see the person as a role model. And that particular person or individuals now will now become the leaders that will now mobilize and organize other young people around the country to now have a shot at whatever position. So about working on the trust is a big task, but I tell you, it's not an easy task. It requires a lot of effort to get people to begin to trust young men again in this country.
Wow.
Thank you.
Just about 5 more minutes with Dr. Leonard. It's been a very good evening on Niger Voices to be able to hear, from you directly, and we hope we will be able to get hold of you should we need to as well. Just for those that have probably just joined us before we let you leave in the next 4 minutes, just give us a kind of summary of your discussion with us in the last an hour 40 minutes or an hour 30 minutes or so, and then we can also take your closing remark, and we can then say thank you very much joining us all the way from Abuja. So just give us again the summary in just about 2-3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. One thing I will tell all AAC party faithfuls across the country, AAC has come to stay. Nothing will shake AAC. We remain resolute. We are focused on ensuring that we take it back in this country. That is what we should all have at the back of our mind. The second thing that must be happening, that no person, irrespective of whoever you are, is greater than this party. As long as you do not follow the constitution, the conventions of this party, you will be sanctioned. And it is in this spirit that we have, the party in its wisdom, have sanctioned Omoyele Sowore, Dr. Malcolm Fabiyi, and 8 others for the inability to convene, summon, or hold the statutory quarterly meeting of the National Executive Committee of the party since the party was formed. 2, involvement in monumental anti-party activities with evidences abounding. 3, financial misappropriation. Of course, we talked about the huge amount of money that was gotten from donations across the globe, but which has not been accounted for. But some figures of presentation was made to get a bank documentation to support these figures of presentation. That has been the battle we are going on along. The other thing is allowing inflow of illegal foreign funds into the party and retaining same personally in contravention of Section 225, Subsection 3 and Subsection 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Usurpation of function, offices and organs of the party, and seeing the party as an extension of Sahara Reporter, and illegal and purported removal of officers because you are not comfortable with them. Across the states, if you don't like them, move them out. So they are clearly anti-democratic actions continually has been executed by the leadership, the former chairman of the party, which the National Executive Committee of this party frowned at and had to suspend them. So finally, I will say, AAC has come to stay. We are finding alternative internal means to see how we can resolve this matter. But even as we are doing that, these people remain suspended for their activities and what they have done. The party was left prostrate. It was not funded. Instead, a group of people used the party as a means to begin to do whatever they want to do with themselves. I already asked questions. They will now say they own the party and begin to blackmail them. We will not come on record to tell you how much I personally have spent on the effort of this party. But if they can condescend to the effort of beginning to put figures down, it shows very clearly these people have some other ulterior motive to have worked with us to go and set up this party. Thank you very much.
Wow. What an exclusive one. And, we can tell you that, we did everything possible and we were able to, get it done by bringing, Dr. Leonard, joining us on Naija Voices on this very special day. Also, going with the inauguration day. Your final word, and then we say thank you once again on behalf of Starr Radio UK for joining us. And like I say, we hope we can get hold of you should we need to again. Your final closing remark now, and we can say thank you once again for joining Naija Voices.
Thank you very much. I call on all AAC members across the globe, people that are aggrieved, people that are not happy, people that have seen the way things have gone. Yes, to some extent, I will say yes, I am also part of the bunch that got us here. But when I realized that things were going bad, I had to step in, and we had to step in with the party to correct things. I'll call on every one of them, wherever you are, in US, in Canada, in Germany, whatever part of the country you are, as far as you are an AAC member, please, you have to come back to the party. You not leave the party. I extend an olive branch. Come back to the party, and let's see how we can retool the party. I also want to commend the chairman of this party across the 36 states of the Federation, who have toiled, who have done everything possible to hold on. They have worked with their brick hands. Nothing on their hands yet. Each day and night, they keep on working to see how the name of AAC would be there. People will know about AAC. I commend them. All the party faithful across Nigeria, I commend them. They are the heroes of whatever I have done. And also, I need to restate, even as I end, that this thing is not about me, it's not about Omoyele Sowore, it's not about Dr. Malcolm Fabiyi or any other person. The party is supreme, the party will stand, and nothing will affect this party. I will, by the grace of God, in 2023, we are going to do something that is unique and more powerful. People will begin to see that indeed the spirit behind what we set out to do with AAC will come alive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and have a good evening from your base there in Abuja. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Wow, that was a very, very good one in terms of to get the the right word from the right person. And I hope a lot of you that have listened to us have been able to pick so many things that have been discussed there in the last almost an hour and a half we've spent with Dr. Leonard all the way from Abuja, where he has been able to tell us quite a lot of things that happen within political party. He has given us his own version of what has been happening and what has happened, and I'm sure a lot of you have also listened, and you can take that. Let's just take a quick break, and then when we come back, we can start looking at what has happened again in Abuja, the inauguration and other things. But one thing is, there must be, politicians. Are they the same? Politician. Only on.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. It says Niger Voices, and this is how we roll every Wednesday on the 29th of May 2019.
Online, on mobile, Suwon DAB. This is Starr Radio.
It doesn't matter whether they are the young party or the old party or the incoming party, they are all politicians.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Yes, this is Starr Radio UK, and this is the only platform where we will bring it to you the way it is. Thank you very much, Smart Jaja. Do can see your message there. We'll get in touch with you, as well. Akinwumi Sikiru, thank you very much for all the comments. And those of you as well, Femi Babalola, De Adigbite, Andrew, as well for joining. I can see a lot of comment coming through as well. But one thing is, Charlotte, thank you for listening to us. Continue to share the page. This is Niger Voices. Yes, do you believe in Nigeria? With all your life? I pledge to Nigeria. With all my heart. Niger. You must invest in Niger. Show some love. The thing is, you might think they are young politicians, but they are all the same.
Welcome.
They must pity for us because those donations, huge figure was mentioned there. 153 million was donated according to what he said. Dr. Leonard there. What a huge amount of money was donated, to the party as well. What has been your most interesting part in terms of the inauguration taking place across the country? The APC coming back. What would happen should the tribunal come back and say, you know what I mean? Thank you very much, Charlotte. My name remains Olayomi Koiki, not Ola. There's a lot of people that bear the names Ola. You must add Yomi to it. Olayomi Koiki, only on Niger Voices. People are dying. Politicians are smiling. And the one thing is, those of this individuals that didn't even go out to vote during the election will be the one getting the contract as the new governors are coming in all over the country. You must pity for us. It doesn't matter. APC, PDP, AAC. They must all pity for the people. It is painful. It is painful. And that is Timaya there for us. We'll be back again in just about a few minutes. But one thing is, we've had a very, great interview with, Dr. Leonard, Nzenwa, taking us through, what has happened in terms of the African Action Congress, what next, internal problem does comes up now and then, but we hope they can be able to resolve the issue within the party, because quite a lot of followers and party members won't be happy with the situation that is happening within that party at the moment. Let us now take a look at some other stories happening in the country. Last week, if you missed the show, we discussed about the the national identification number that you can now walk in after you've already done your online registration here in the United Kingdom, and just go down to 169 Old Kent Road, where you will be able to get your biometric capture. Look, I mean, some individuals will say, that is not my problem. But one thing is, as long as you still want to go to Nigeria and you want to have anything to do with Nigeria, it is mandatory by the federal government that you must have your national identification number, NIM. And the reason why it's been brought to London is it saves you, about 500 or 400 pounds traveling to Lagos to get it done. I did mine about 2 years ago while I was in Nigeria. So there's no excuse for that. Make sure you get your national identification number registered, and then that way, if you want to get your passport, that will be requested. If you need to renew your passport and you get to the embassy and they're telling you where is your name, and then you start remembering that Niger Voices mentioned it to you. So make sure if you haven't done yours, or your family and your friends, tell them about it. Or if you want to find more details, do reach out to me on +4475 94050 or you can inbox me on my Facebook page. For those of you that are following me on Facebook, it's Olayomi Koiki. You can follow us on all other social media handles. And again, this is
Welcome.
Online, on mobile, soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading African Caribbean radio station.
Yes, sir, we're the leading, and none other station will bring it to you, as you might want to. And while we're going to be looking at security and the budget, a lot of money was been, budget for this, 2019. How would the government be spending this money? Is that money enough in terms of, the Nigerian budget? We've been budgeting money for a very long time, but does the money goes to the right people? And who should be held responsible? If the budget doesn't go, quite well, within the country. We've seen, the president signed the ambitious 2019 budget. Nigerian President Muhammad Buhari signed an ambitious budget into law on Monday, days ahead of the official start of his second term, which have now started today. Africa's largest oil producer. It's good to listen and hear that we are the Africa's largest oil producer, but even where this oil is coming out from, you only need to see that things have not been done properly, education, the pollution, all sort of things going on within where the oil, is being extracted from. We're getting the crude oil out of the ground, but the people that are meant to, the people that are meant to enjoy it doesn't even smell, the coffee of this crude oil. And then some individuals outside the country and within the country that we now call Kaba. I mean, Dr. Leonard mentioned Kaba so many times, during that interview, and it makes you wonder, Kaba is everywhere. Buhari approved the spending plan of what, about 8.9 trillion naira, which is about $29 billion, based on the official fixed exchange rate of 305 naira to $1. What is the exchange rate from wherever you're sending money home today? I think it's about 465 to a pound. Wow, that is quite a lot of money there for those that are sending the money home. But for those at home trying to buy goods outside the country is a big problem. So, but 25 billion for 180 million people, is that enough? Looking at infrastructure deficit that we have, security, healthcare. Nigerians, can't even get to the hospital because you just take it as you can't. I was in Nigeria for 6 weeks, and you see people say, look, I can't just go to the hospital because the cost. We're not talking about the service is poor, but the cost of going into the hospital is also alarming as well. And also, the big problem is that in 2016 and 2017, the revenue expectation has been very high, according to the economics analysts. And this year, the revenue projection is even higher, even though they didn't reach the target the previous year. Nigeria is one of the Africa's biggest economy. Let's hope this economy can be able to create jobs, opportunity for the youth, for everyone, can give access to, from the time, a woman becomes pregnant up to when the baby or the child becomes 16 years or maybe less than that. They should be able to get free medical assistance, but that is not happening in Nigeria. If you give birth, you are definitely on your own. So it makes you wonder each time you get the message saying Africa biggest economy. The budget is predicted on the crude oil sale of about $60 per barrel. And the crude oil production is about 2.3 million barrels. But one thing is, this crude oil that has become our main forex, and the people are not enjoying it. The people where this crude oil is coming out doesn't even have good, basic amenities, and you just need to see, the images. They can't even go to the, to the stream, because most of them are fishermen and fisherwomen. But unfortunately, the pollution in that area, the federal government have said they will be clearing it, but we're still waiting and hoping, that would happen. And after emerging in 2017 from its deepest recession, the recession, I think, is going to come back because, I listened to, the CBN, governor about a couple of days ago. It doesn't seem we will come out of this recession, or we might be going back. So the deepest recession in decades and millions of job losses, Nigeria's economy returned to growth increase by 2% in 2018, but the growth is still less than third of the pace it was 5 years ago. So what is your take on that? You can call the studio line on 0208 133 2257 and let us have your view in terms of the situation at home right now. What have you been hearing? What are your people, your family, your friends, your businesses? What has been the situation on ground? I mean, a lot of you get in touch with people back home all the time, but what has been the response in terms of now that each of the governors are coming back, the new ones are taking over? What is the expectation in Lagos, in Ogun State, in Oyo State, in Anambra, Imo State, Katsina, Zamfara? Wow, Zamfara has been the most amazing one. With the situation in Zamfara State, everyone was a wasted vote according to the Supreme Court judgment. Now PDP has taken over the whole of Zamfara State. What are the expectations? If from what I read just about a few minutes ago, we depend only on the crude oil. And this afternoon, someone sent a video, King Prawn. Was it yesterday? I think I saw that video. And a restaurant in US, gets that from Nigeria. That is another kind of, forex. We have a lot of areas that we can tap into, but all that area we can't because we don't have, security is the biggest problem that the government is dealing with now. The security in the country is becoming worrisome for even the government that, I think about 2 days ago, the president had another, indoor meeting with all the security chiefs. And it tells you that there's a huge problem in terms of the security at home at the moment. And if we want to have opportunity in other areas and make, the economy flourish and create jobs, we must also have that enabling environment. But at the moment, we don't have that enabling environment, and that is why the situation at home is what a lot of people are now saying. How do we get this? How do we come out of this problem? How do we come out of this problem? In just about a few minutes, we will listen to how the president, was sworn in Nigeria in Eagle Square this morning, and quite a lot of activities. And I'm sure there will be a kind of dinner. The vice president as well. A very, very, big event took place at home today. But we will capture a little bit from. Let's listen to when the vice president was taking his oath, coming back for the next 4 years as the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So while I'm waiting for that to come up, let's get that now.
Yemi Osinbajo. Do solemnly swear. That I will be faithful. That I will be faithful. Bear true allegiance. And bear true allegiance. To the Federal Republic of Nigeria. To the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That as Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That as Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I will discharge my duties. I will discharge my duties. To the best of my ability. To the best of my ability. Faithfully. And in accordance with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the law, and always in the interest of the sovereignty, integrity, solidarity, well-being, and the prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that I will strive to preserve the fundamental objectives and directives of principles of state policy contained in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will not allow my personal interest to influence my official conduct, my official decisions. That I will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That I will abide by the code of conduct contained in the fifth schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That in all circumstances I will do right to all manner of people according to law without fear or favor, affection or ill will, that I will not directly or indirectly communicate or reveal to any person any matter which shall be brought under my consideration or shall become known to me as Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Except as may be required for the due discharge of my duties. For the due discharge of my duties as Vice President. So help me God.
And that's it. So help him God, and so help them as they move to the next phase of making Nigeria great again. We will listen to the president, swearing in of oath in just about a few minutes. And this is only
online, on mobile, soon on DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading African Caribbean radio station.
Yes, the leading African and Afro-Caribbean radio station in London, and that was, the Vice President Yemi Osibajo being sworn in again as the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let's now listen to the situation that took place during the inauguration at Eagle Square when the president was being sworn in. This is Niger Voices.
Muhammadu Buhari, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect and defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, so help me God.
And that's it. So help them God as they take the battle again for the next 4 years. And this is only on Niger Voices. And what you heard there, was the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, taking the oath there. And we hope and pray that lives will be protected. The people will be given opportunity just like we have it for those of us that are living outside the country, and we hope the right thing will be done for the people as well. Thank you very much, my great auntie Honorable Bola Olivia Charlotte. Thank you very much once again. And it's been another Wednesday, but this Friday, it's one and only my birthday this Friday, the 31st of May. When I think I celebrated my 40th birthday last year, but this time around it's going to be a low key. But if you want to, support, or you want to, give a kind of, birthday gift, could you do that to Oasis, where is in Ibadan? That is my charity that I've always, supported. So if you have any reason to support us again, for birthday gift, I think it will be better, to send that to. I'll give you the details in just about a few minutes. Send that details, or you can call them +234. Instead of calling me on my birthday, you can call this number and appreciate, the two individuals that have worked tirelessly, bringing, children that are not theirs, keeping them, feeding them, giving them love that a lot of people cannot even find, at the moment, since the mother died, they've taken over this orphanage home in Ibadan for the last, almost 15 years, if I'm right. I had an interview with her. We'll be having another one next week, Wednesday, with her as well. And that is, the Oiza's Orphanage and Foster Foundation. They're at number 24 MTC Road, Okeado, Ibadan in Oyo State. For those of you in Nigeria, you will know where Ibadan is. You can, if you want to, you can get a public transport and go there on my behalf and do whatever you can. Every little helps is what the life is all about. So for my birthday message is for any kind of love that you want to send to me on Friday, please channel that love to these two brother and a sister that have worked tirelessly, taking care of more than 40 or so children, and some of them are also, I've been told, have now university. I think some of them are also coming out of university, and they'll be looking for jobs. You got to think of it, taking care of 40 individuals. It's a very, very huge task, medical wise, security, transportation, food, and even showing them love. So on Friday, the 31st of May, on my birthday, that will also be a message that I will be putting out again on Friday. If you want to send love to me, please, make a phone call, +234 803809594. Send that love, to the Oiza's Orphanage and Foster Foundation, where this individual, when I heard about their story, I think last year, I was like, wow, I thought I was doing something, but this individual have done so much. And we hope you can also continue to do so much wherever you are, whether you live in Nigeria, whether you live outside Nigeria, it doesn't make any difference. As long as we have, this green, white, green, you can see, of coming into the studio, very proud Nigerian. I'm very proud to be Nigeria. I'm very, very proud because, as much as we've lived there for the last 20 years, home will always be home at one point. And that is why we must make sure that we fix the problem. And part of the problem will also be, political parties fighting and all that and stabilizing. And like we heard from our special guest all the way from Abuja, Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, telling us, what has happened between, this African Action Congress, and we hope, they can resolve, some of those, problems. And again, in July, it's all about the comforter taking place in Nigeria. Let's take a listen to this.
And to tell the world that we believe solemnly in the word of God, the Bible, the sword of the Spirit, is what we do. Then we all celebrate the comforter. God willing, the one that will be coming up 2019 will be in this great country, Nigeria, fish in our hand. And we serve him without mingling anything petty with his name. When the Lord is on a mission, the mission becomes so peaceful.
Well, the mission must continue to be peaceful, and we hope it will be peaceful, for the next 4 years in Nigeria. The news sometimes that come out of the country, there's quite a lot of good news coming out, but sometimes you can imagine the bad news travel, faster than the good news. There are a lot of Nigerians that are doing great at home, but the problem is the enabling environment. The government must be able to fix that, the electricity, and so many things that we've discussed on this show before. And in the next 6 minutes, we'll be bringing this show to an end. It's been an amazing 29th of May. And as May is leaving, each time my birthday is coming, I can tell that, we're going into the middle of the year. And what have you been able to put in terms of from January up to now? What is something that, you've been working on or you are thinking of doing, but because people are saying it can't be possible, it's not possible and all that, and I'm sure we must try everything before we leave this world. Also, our condolence goes to, it's hard for me to say this, but it's painful sometimes with the news coming out of Nigeria. I'm sure a lot of you saw that, news, and when that story broke about a couple of weeks back, that they were looking for this young, beautiful girl just finished from University of Lagos. The prayer always is, let's just hope that she's found and she can get back to her family. But this time around, that didn't happen. We can now say that Adewura died in Lagos. She was almost home, and something went wrong, and what we can say now is may the soul rest in peace, and the family that she has left behind. And that is part of what makes you go, why a country blessed with so many people, but sometimes this country takes away some of these people. The pain of what you see every time makes you wonder. We hope the country will be great again. Adewura, wherever you are now, may the peace and the blessing of the Lord be with you and your family that you've left behind. Let me take a quote from Akinwumi A. Adesina. I'm sure a lot of you know him. He's the president of the African Development Bank, and it goes like this: when leaders serve their people, they do so with their heart, heartless leaders lack emotion or empathy for people they command. They do not serve. You hear their voice but cannot feel their heart. Serve with your heart. It is the highway that connects leaders to the people. So let's hope as each of these governors, the president, those that will be working under the president, those working under the governor, those working within the government, and Nigerians as individuals, we hope everyone will do the right thing so that, your heart is the highway that connects leaders with the people. And on that note, it is
online, on mobile, soon on DAB. This is Star Radio UK, the leading African Caribbean radio station.
Yes, let's listen to ERRAS.
Professional. Are you currently having capability or disciplinary issues at work? Have you recently been referred to the NMC, ACPC, GMC, any other regulatory bodies? Do you need confidential expert advice on work issues and professionalism? Do you need representation for your NMC, GMC, ACPC, interim or substantive hearing? If your answer is yes, please contact Dr. Abe Akinyoshu of ERRAS, Employment Rights Representation and Advisory Service on 0208 305 7438 or 0207 140 0111 0745 195 6510. Our team of experts are ready to assist you in all aspects of your professionalism.
Yes, Dr. Abe Akinyoshu, a very good individual that makes sure that when our nurses or those working in the healthcare sector, you must have problems. If you're praying that you don't have problems, then I don't know about that. There will always be problem, but you must also be prepared to have solution, to solve that problem. So if you have any work-related problem in the healthcare, do get in touch with Dr. Abe Akinyoshu. Employment rights representation and advisory services right here in United Kingdom. Yesterday I saw him representing someone yesterday. Is always in and out, making sure that before you can go into any disciplinary, make sure you have the employment rights representation and advisory service individual with you, so that you don't get fired. And on that note, we bring, may so rest in peace, one and only Raskimono. A lot of pressure at the moment. African Action Congress. We hope you guys can resolve, the problem within the party, because not everyone is under pressure. But right now, a lot of people are just under pressure. And on that note, I'll be bringing this edition of Naija Voices to an end. It's another week and it's another birthday weekend for me. You can get in touch with us on info@starradiouk.com. Follow us on all our social media handles on Twitter @StarRadioUK. Remember, it's a double R, STARRADIOUK, Star Radio UK. And for those of you that would like to reach out to us directly, +4475 9405097. That's my direct number, and you can get me on that. But the studio number remains 0208 133 2257, and this is
Welcome.
Yes, it is Naija Voices, and we'll be back again same time next week. Make sure you tune in for another guest.
Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO. This is the 14th of May, where I'll be meeting our studio guest, mindfulness expert, Mr. Nina Buchanan. Now, are you ready to be powered up? Do you know what you were truly born to do? Well, the only way to find out is to join me, 8 p.m., Tuesday the 14th. Don't miss it.
On Star Radio UK.
Yes, all the way Karim, all the way in Birmingham. I hope you were able to listen and enjoy the first part of that interview. We'll be bringing you again, and let's hope Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, will be doing well for the people, and also Olufemi Osho all the way from Enfield. And that's where we roll here in the studio. It is Naija Voices, Under Pressure.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Yes. Some are die, some are weeping, some are willing. Everywhere, let me go. Nigeria is no more under pressure. It's the inauguration day today, and let us pray for this government that is taking over not just the federal, but most of the state as well. Or your state, we're wishing you all the best. Imo, wow. Okorocha is gone. And on that note, I say thank you to the producer and everyone that have been part of the show tonight. Depending on what you're listening from or where you have been listening from, maybe on the smartphone, on the apps, make sure you tune in again on Starr Radio UK with the breakfast show coming up tomorrow. The property hour is also coming up tomorrow, and it is only Under Pressure.
Online, on mobile, Suwon DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading African Caribbean radio station.
Yes, and that was my guest at the first hour of the show. If you've missed that, you got to wait till after the show and you can listen back to what Dr. Leonard Nzenwa, the acting chairman of African Action Congress. What a very, very good interview there, and you can be able to decide yourself. Once again, this is Naija Voices.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
And on that note, bye for now, and we'll be back again next week Wednesday, Naija Voices at 6 p.m.
Welcome.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK. Online, on mobile, Suwon DAB. This is Starr Radio UK, the leading African Caribbean radio station.